Hey, it's been a while since we've done one of these, and everyone needs more games to add to their list of things they'll never get around to, right? It's cool, I get it. There's a lot of games and sometimes it's hard to find time to get to all of them. So that's today's theme. All of these are games you'll probably have heard of that I'd like to suggest you take the time to play sooner rather than later. We're saving the ultra obscure stuff for next time, and today we're talking about only the moderately obscure stuff. Let's get to it. Okay, so I know I offhandedly mentioned this in my last recommendations video, and it wasn't until later that I realized that most people probably don't know about it. That being said, Rivals of Aether is the best Smash game not made by Nintendo. It has an absolutely phenomenal yet distinct flavor of gameplay that exists outside of the standard mechanics of things like Melee or Smash 4. This is not a clone, not even kinda. Rather, this is proof that platform fighters can exist as a genre in and unto itself, outside of the things that Smash considers to be standard. Ledge grabbing, nor grabbing at large, is a thing for most characters. Instead, wall kicks and creative recoveries define Rivals' recovery game. Also, there's no shields. Instead, there's parries that, when properly timed, will leave your opponent stunned for massive punishes, as well as a heavier emphasis on dodges and reflex. Like I said, this isn't Smash 4 or Melee. Rivals is, well, Rivals. That being said though, this isn't just a game for people who fantasize about winning EVO. There is a ton of single-player content that, by the by, may very well serve as the best starting point ever put together for people who've always enjoyed the genre, yet have never been able to break into it on a competitive level. It has a respectable single-player mode, but the real fun comes in with Endless Abyss, an endless gauntlet that seems tailor-made to teach you fundamentals while also giving you incentive to keep playing by way of unlockable upgrades for each character. Honestly, at this point, you've watched like 2 minutes of footage of this game, you know what it looks like. So if this is something that feels even sort of like something you'd like, grab it. It's still receiving support, it has a healthy scene for a game its size, it goes on sale frequently, you can play as a whale dog, play it. Grab it on sale, nab any DLC characters who may seem cool to you, and spend some time feeling like a new Smash game just arrived on your doorstep. Also, hey, Ori's here too, and I hate him. So this is probably the most dead serious recommendation I have for you on this list. 999. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. This is a story-driven puzzle game. Think of something along the lines of Ghost Trick or Ace Attorney, but as an escape the room game, and much darker. It is also in my top 5 stories in video games ever. This is a game that's on par with things like Persona 3 and 4, Nier Automata, and Fallout New Vegas, and just like any of those, I could talk about it for hours. Here's the pitch. You, along with 8 other people, have been kidnapped by a person calling themselves Zero. You wake up within a bedroom aboard the Titanic, yes, exactly the Titanic you're thinking of as it begins to sink, with a bracelet displaying a number tied to your wrist, and a bomb in your gut. A loudspeaker crackles as your captor begins to speak to you through it, and he tells you 4 things. They can see and hear everything you do, no matter where you go. Should you try to escape, the explosive in your body will be detonated. The only way out of here is to go through the door with a 9 on it. And lastly, this ship will be fully underwater in 9 hours. It's up to you to survive, figure out just what the hell is going on, and unmask Zero. Basically, think Saw without any of the torture and if it were directed by Gen Urobuchi. This is a game that is unbelievable in terms of its level of storytelling. It's stunning how well this is put together, everything from its incredibly rich theming, its characterization, presentation, its brilliant music, its creative and engaging puzzles, and just like, Jesus Christ, it's everything. I'm sure a lot of this sounds vague, and I want to hand you more for this to try to convince you to play it, I really do, but please, more than anything I've ever suggested, I'm begging you, trust me. This is a big part of why I feel like this game hasn't gotten the love it deserves. You can't explain what makes it great without harming it. It's something that you just have to experience. Anything I could hand you that might seriously explain why it's so good would be taking away from what the game itself could give you. Also, like I said, it's an escape-the-room puzzle game, and a really, really good one at that. If you're someone who finds any kind of pleasure in those moments that make you go, "Oh, now I get it," then this is required playing. Should you pick it up, no matter what you do not stop playing until you achieve the true ending. The game is not finished until you do so, I swear. I also recommend trying to get every ending before the true ending. That was clearly the designer's intent, and it makes the whole experience much more solid. There's a spoiler-free guide, I'll drop a link in the description. And if you even vaguely enjoy it, then there's 2 sequels, Virtue's Last Reward and Zero Time Dilemma. One of which is just as good as this, and the other of which is, like, not as good as the first, but still really, really cool. At this point, you can get it for cheap. It's available on DS and iOS, plus all the modern consoles. It's a combo pack called the Nonary Games that also includes Virtue's Last Reward. It's one of the best values out there. Please, everyone go play this so I can justify making a 40-minute video about this. This game is a gem that has been slept on by the majority of the culture for far too long. Ugh, this game is so good! I did say some of these were games you'd probably heard of. There's a solid argument to be made that indie games as we currently think of them started with Cave's Story. This game was basically ground zero for personal and experimental 16-bit inspired games put together entirely by a single person. It is a classic game in every sense of the term. Of course it wouldn't be a classic if there wasn't some actual substance to back it up. This is a 2D light Metroidvania that just nails it in every category. It's visually fantastic with some of the most charming art I've ever seen in a game. In terms of gameplay, it's filled to the brim with not just a ton of fun and creative weapons that all have their own use, but by the end of the game also has numerous movement options that are debatably more important than the weaponry. Also, did I mention the soundtrack? Because this OST is unquestionably in my top 10 ever. There's a reason I mainly use songs from this in my first video ever, and please don't watch that video, it's absolutely terrible. Likewise, its writing is as on point as a game this simple can be. It's a simple story, no doubt, but it's one jam-packed with meaning, relatability, and charisma, not to mention characters who I still just adore to this day. My only qualifier for it is that you should definitely do yourself a favor and look up a guide for how to get the true ending beforehand. You will 100% not get the ending without a guide, it doesn't spoil anything of substance, and 2 of my favorite levels ever are only accessible by going down that path, as well as some of my favorite mechanics ever. Although, fair warning, the true ending gets hard. Like, really hard. Are you kidding me? That being said, it's the best kind of hard. The kind of hard that demands you improve and pushes you to your limits before paying off in the most satisfying way possible. Like I said, 2 of my favorite levels ever. However, if you're not someone like me who finds a level of satisfaction in throwing yourself against a brick wall till it falls down, you may be better off going for the standard ending and watching a playthrough for the true ending. Cave Story Plus is the best version, and it goes on sale on Steam for nothing all the time. It's also basically identical to the fantastic Switch port. However, if you're tight on cash, you can always play the original version of this game completely for free. You got no excuses, homie. This game is absolutely fantastic. The fact that everything in it was only made by a single person leaves me in eternal awe. It has unquestionably earned its legacy. It's among the games I would give a 10 to, so you should definitely play it, Fox. I know you own it. That's the real reason I'm recommending it right now. Just play it. Trust me, you'll love it. Just play it, goddamn. You ever play a game that's just, like, really good? I mean good in a really uncomplicated sort of way. It may not reach towering heights, but it doesn't do that because it never sets its sights that high in the first place. I'm talking good in the way that Die Hard or Doom is good, where it doesn't aspire to greatness, but rather just aims to be the best at what it does. And by virtue of that, kind of trips and falls into greatness. That's Call of Juarez Gunslinger. For my money, this is the best video game western we have. Nothing else even comes close to evoking the feeling of being a lone gunman in the West. This is the closest thing gaming has to an answer for a fistful of dollars. Everything about this game just works. Like all great westerns, it has a simple yet meaningful narrative, all framed around an old cowboy trading tall tales of how he bested every famous outlaw and sheriff you've ever heard of for a couple drinks. The cast is small, but every single character is amazingly well performed. It's funny and charming, but never pauses to go for the gut in the moments that really matter. It may drape a layer of historical revisionism over the West like everything else in its genre, but it never fails to take a moment to pull you aside and make sure you know it's doing that, and that you know what its true history is. This is a game that holds a deep love for the myth of the West, but it also refuses to deny the reality of the frankly terrible and disgusting things done in the name of stealing it. In other words, it's a game that's as respectful to the genre as it is the history. And that's just the writing. And as good as it is, if I'm being honest, the gameplay somehow manages to outshine it for me. This is a distinctly arcadey affair, complete with high scores, combos, upgrades, collectibles, all that good shit. Hell, there's even a dedicated arcade mode that's just an absolute blast. Gunslinger may also have my favorite take on QuickTime ever. It doesn't really do anything new with it so much as it does flesh it out and make it resonate with the rest of the mechanics in the game. Rather than just being something with a cooldown, it's a meter that you have to fill. A kill will get you meter, a headshot will get you more, and a headshot at long range will get you a lot. And while in QuickTime, your kills net you double the points. This basically means that at low level play you basically have a save me button, whereas at high level play you have a skill based tool to get the most points out of every encounter you have. This is a game that wants you to play well and is constantly rewarding you for doing so. Which, you know, sounds exactly like the kind of thing a lot of my audience would love. Though, to be clear, it doesn't really punish you for playing poorly. This is a very accessible game. There's also duels, which, while fairly simple, manage to flawlessly capture the tone of two people facing down at high noon. All of it is just so satisfying. If you wind up playing it, be sure to take the reload upgrades for each gun as quickly as you can. They drastically improve the pace of the game. Also, try to collect the nuggets of truth. They are genuinely insightful and educational and taught me a lot about the reality of the legendary outlaws and sheriffs that this game loves to name check. It's a light play, you'll be able to finish it in about 5 hours or so, but the difficulty modes actually remix the game a bit, and like I said, there's an arcade mode, so there's plenty to do past that initial run. This is also one of those games that goes on sale on Steam for next to nothing all the time. If you're hesitant, drop it on a waitlist and wait for the next holiday to come around. Should be able to get it for like $4. Also, fun fact, all McCree mains are legally required to play this game. You will go to jail if you do not. Sorry, those are the rules, nothing I could do. Godspeed. I have to say it, don't I? Thank you for liking, please watch, don't forget to unsubscribe. I'm gonna go rock this vape and watch some Steven Universe. God, I hate having to market myself.
Hey, I'm going to Taco Bell. Do you want anything?
Yeah. Could you get me 1 Sherry Parr, 1 Sam Natchison, 2 Kevin Thurbers, an extra large Keith, a regular Black Mage app, a Sky the English Gamer with extra nacho cheese, a very famous person, a small Jonathan Quavito, 2 Spiral Powers, both of them without any Foxcade, a regular Ross Lampert, and a Diet Matthew Cassidy. And some cinnamon twists.
Okay, yeah, sure, I'll do that. I really hope Taco Bell sells people.
Don't forget the cinnamon twists. However, if you're not someone like me who finds a love... I hate you, Discord.